Everyone was a seasoned professional. Um, Even Eva Longoria was young, but boy, nobody works harder than Eva. I'm sure, as you've found out. So I think everyone was a seasoned professional. I think everyone was really grateful for the job. I think everyone's very different. It wasn't like they were casting a family where you kind of go, oh, they want the same sensibility. We want the same feeling from each person. They were casting very, no pun intended, very disparate characters for these desperate housewives. So I think you had four very different women, and five, really, Nicolette Sheridan. So I think everyone was very different, and there was a lot of pressure on the show. I mean, our second job was really the publicity. We never had a weekend off. We'd shoot pretty long hours, particularly those first couple of years, much more than 30 or 40 hours, and then you'd have publicity on the weekends and afterwards and stuff like that. So there was a lot of pressure on it. So there were some very tense times, and there were some real fun times. I love Doug Savant so much. Well, I know it wasn't my choice, but I still feel guilty about how Lynette treated Tom. I wish she treated him better. I would never treat my husband that way. The terms of the deception and several times she totally torpedoed his chances, and I certainly understand that it's great fodder for drama and comedy, but still I sort of go, oh God, that was harsh. So thank you for staying with her, Tom. They have ups and downs, and I think one of my sisters described this to me. She said, in a marriage, and it's difficult being married, she said, in a marriage, people go, well, we had a baby to save our marriage. And my sister always went, you had a baby to save your marriage? Why don't you have an affair to save your marriage? That would save your marriage a lot easier than a baby. She said it's kind of like a marriage is like a piece of paper folded in and on itself 3 times. And it's folded a bunch. And so you have certain fault lines in it. And a kid comes and goes on the piece of paper and it cracks. So, Tom and Lynette, with all these children, have a lot of difficulties in their marriage, and a lot of difficulties in that, Tom has married a competitive, very competent, intelligent woman who, as Mark many times said, she's better in the corporate world than he is. And he loved that about her. And then you marry someone like that and somehow it becomes a liability. And she married someone who's incredibly steady and loyal and wonderful. And suddenly you sort of go, why are you so steady? Why can't you be more sparky? So I think it was true. And I think the American public, and certainly me, and actually my husband, were really attached to Tom and Lynette when they were going through their marital difficulties. And Lynette almost had an affair. Even Bill, well, first I would get on airplanes. Many times I was flying back and forth to do press. People would be like, what are you doing? I am worried about Tom and Lynette. Why aren't you, et cetera, et cetera. And even my husband went, what's going on? I don't want them to break up. I mean, he was really upset. So, people want their marriages to work, and people want their TV marriages to work. And I think what was so great about Tom and Lynette is certainly by the end, by year 7 or 8, you really had the feeling they're totally going to make it. If they've made it through all this stuff, they're going to make it. And there's a deep love. And that wonderful scene, I think it was season 8, when they walk down Wisteria Lane towards each other. I remember shooting that with Doug. And it was so meaningful because it was the beginning of Tom and Lynette being okay. And it was the end of the series. And I turned to Doug and I went, we're never going to shoot this is our last big scene together. And it was so lovely and bittersweet. I don't remember if it came out well, but I remember I loved shooting it.